So you're looking for a nice set of wheels to complement your ride? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to my guide to modding series, and in today's video, all the basics you need to know about aftermarket wheels. Before we can even talk about wheels, you need to ask yourself, why do you want new wheels? Are you looking for something lighter, stronger, or maybe just more stylish? Depending on your answer, it's paramount that you pick a wheel that was created for the purpose you desire. So let's talk about the various wheel creation methods. Casting. Casting is by far the cheapest method to make wheels, and if your car doesn't have plastic wheels and advertises having nice metal wheels from factory, they're actually just cast most of the time. Take the stock wheels on my Z06 for example. Despite being $4 grand for a brand new set of wheels on a near six-figure car, they're still cast. So what is casting? Well, casting refers to a method that involves pouring molten metal into a mold. The various types of molds will determine the wheel's shape. Most lower-end cast wheels rely on gravity casting, which is exactly what it sounds like. It just is casting that relies on Earth's gravity to fill the mold. Another form of casting, called low-pressure casting, uses positive pressure to quickly fill a mold in order to create more density than that of a gravity cast wheel. So what are the advantages of cast wheels? Well, they are cheap and they are stylish, and since most factory wheels are already cast, there isn't a loss in quality. However, to some people that itself is a disadvantage. After all, you're spending a lot of cash and you want to see some kind of improvement. Moving on to disadvantages, the biggest issue of cast wheels is their weight. Even low pressure cast wheels still weigh far more than any forged or Flowform wheel will. This extra weight is the result of the wheels needing more metal to achieve the same amount of density as compared to something like a forged wheel would. This also means that despite being heavier, they aren't as strong as they should be for that weight due to having a porous construction. Low quality gravity cast wheels are usually the last thing you should be taking to an intense track session. They will crack much easier and overall can't handle as much stress. If you ever bent a wheel on a pothole, chances are it was a cast wheel. Speaking of which, I'd like to address a quick misconception a lot of normies make. SUVs are not invincible tanks. I've seen way too many posts from my hipster college buddies who just bought a brand new SUV, and they think that their SUV is less likely to bend a wheel on a pothole than my Z06 is, therefore they never dodge it. However, here's a newsflash for you guys. When it comes to wheel durability, it's all about the wheel quality and the tire sidewall. A lot of SUVs these days are starting to have less and less tire sidewall since no one off-roads them. Let's be real, everyone just drives them on the road to be fashionable. Therefore, this lack of tire sidewall, combined with the fact that they also use cast wheels from factory, that makes your SUV just as vulnerable as my low-slung Z06 when it comes to hitting a pothole. Having said that, SUVs do have a suspension and alignment advantage over that of a sports car when hitting a pothole. Your guys' alignment will not be affected as much hitting a pothole compared to us, however, your wheels will still be ruined. Therefore, the conclusion is still the same. If you guys see a pothole, you should also swerve around it. Flowforming, the middle child of the bunch, a balance of quality and affordability. Flowform wheels start life as a cast wheel that has been narrowed down. They are then placed on a machine that presses a steel roller against the rim that compresses and stretches the barrel of the wheel, which results in an almost forge-like strength. Flowform wheels are usually what most car enthusiasts are running or aiming to run. They're a step up from your stock wheels in both appearance and strength. Flowform wheels make you feel good about what you spent. After all, you paid for better looking wheels that also are a nice upgrade for many driving circumstances. Be it autocrossing, intense track days, or just daily driving your car and just trying to look a bit more stylish, Flowform wheels are more than capable of keeping themselves together. So why go full forged then? Well, you're about to find out. Because weight reduction, bro. If you're someone looking to hot lap and push your car to its limits, then you're also looking for the strongest possible, but also the lightest possible wheel. And that brings us to the forged wheel. There are two types of forged wheels, machine forged and mold form forged. Machine forged are more prevalent when browsing about, and they involve using a solid billet that is then treated with intense heat and pressure. This compresses the material into a raw forge, which companies will later use as a base to make all their various designs. This end result is much stronger than the original billet that was used to make it, and if you think that's the extent of our engineering prowess, you'd be wrong. Mold form forging takes forging a step further by creating the shape of the wheel itself during the forged process. This makes the wheel even stronger since they undergo a rough forging followed by secondary forging with tons, and I mean literal tons of pressure to get the shape they want. It's safe to say if you're looking for wheels that are lightweight and strong enough to survive potholes, intense track days, natural disasters, and the end of mankind itself, then forged wheels are the way to go. However, be prepared to have some deep pockets, as forged wheels will cost you more than a pretty penny, and oftentimes they cost as much as a whole set of Flowform wheels with a nice set of tires. I'm talking several thousand. Just for the wheels, by the way. If you want tires too, that's adorable. Another $2,000 at minimum. And now that we've covered the wheel creation methods, let's talk about all the numbers that you need to know. So once you've decided on the right wheels for your desired purpose, you'll notice that your tires have a whole bunch of numbers on them, and you have to match that. The first letter you'll encounter will say what vehicle it is for, P for passenger vehicle, LT for light truck, and so on and so forth. Immediately after, you will see a number in regards to your tire's width. After that, you will see an aspect ratio. Now keep in mind that even though we're talking about tires right now in a wheel video, do know that it is still very important to know what the numbers on your tires mean, since that will correspond with what wheels you're choosing. I could be wrong, you're probably about to stretch life, so you're probably going to buy really thin tires and put them on really wide wheels anyways. Regardless, let's keep moving on. The number after is your wheel diameter, usually in inches. And lastly is the load rating, followed by a letter that determines your speed rating. Since I've been talking about strength this whole video, you have to remember that aside from the road, your very vehicle itself also applies a lot of stress to your wheels. Last thing you want to do is buy wheels meant for a compact car and put it on your 5,000-pound truck. Most websites and tire shops have a database in which they can do all the calculating and match your car with some correct wheels. But for the rarer and more unique wheels, they usually will not show up in these databases, so it's important for you to learn what these numbers and letters mean on your own. I'll link to an article that explains this more in depth for those shopping for those unique wheels. Now that you've got your wheels matched for your tires and for the type of weight, before you place your order, most companies will ask you a final question, which is about custom fitment requests. You could always just request stock fitment, but if you bought a thicker, larger diameter wheel, this may cause some clearance issues and a lot of fender rubbing, so it's best to actually change your fitment accordingly. When it comes to fitment, two things reign supreme: offset and thickness. Let's talk about offset first. If you want to be more flush with your fender, as in the wheels are being brought out further away from the vehicle, then you should look for lower numbers or even negative numbers, depending on your stock offset. For example, my Z06 runs a stock 59mm offset in the rear and a 43mm offset in the front. I'm about 13mm or so for my front fenders and about 14 or so in the rear, so if I wanted to be flush, I'd have to custom order a front offset of 30 and a rear offset of 45. Now, another thing that you need to know is offset is usually written as ET. Now, something like my car is far from the world of negative, as most performance cars usually by default run very thick wheels and tires. But for those who really have your wheels buried into your wheel wells, I'm talking a lot of fender tuck, if you want to get thicker wheels, you need to run lower offset, sometimes even negative. And this is very important because if you buy very thick wheels, for example, let's say you want to put 10s or 12s on a Honda Civic, you do need to get your wheels moved out using that negative offset. Now, with too much negative offset, you run the risk of damaging your fenders, but with too much positive offset, you run the risk of damaging your suspension geometry. I'm talking about your control arms, as well as brake clearance issues. For the same reason you don't want your wheels way out there, you also don't want your wheels way in there. Now, once you do finally accomplish this, not only do you get a great look that's more aggressive, but like I said, you get better clearance for your larger brakes, and that gives you a lot more opportunity to upgrade your vehicle's handling. But let's be real, handling isn't all that you care about. Most of you guys are watching this video for style, and when it comes to fundamental appearance of a wheel, the individual bits and pieces that create the overall theme, usually there are two things to look at: lips and spokes, and sometimes multi-piece assemblies and the center hubs and a whole bunch of other things. But a lot of the style you'll want will be achieved with the lips and spokes. So the spokes of a wheel are the structures that extend from the center to the outer edges. You could get them thicker or thinner, few or numerous, it's up to you. And different brands can achieve different looks, and the spokes themselves could even have designs embedded within them. As for the lip, that's becoming a more popular focal point as of recent. A simple lip is very convenient and easy to manage around corners, and you won't be haunted at night with the persisting fear of wheel rash. But for those bold in style and bold in heart, steel yourselves as you prepare to embark on the life that is the deep dish life. Deep dish wheels are fantastic, wonderful, and also a pain in the butt to drive and take care of because, like I said, you're going to be haunted by wheel rash at every single corner and curb you see. But should you desire such, the results speak for themselves. Deep dish wheels make for a unique and almost mesmerizing look since all the surface area they have can be a very great way to brag about your wheel's paint job and display a beautiful tone, beautiful color, and it just gives you a lot more variety and ability to show off your finish. Now, as for most people, this is the extent of style that we desire with wheels, but for all those Stance Nation boys, I'm gonna send you guys somewhere else since I'm not the expert for that. Go check out the channel Fitment Industries, and you can find everything you need to know about stancing your car and living that hella flush poke life. But for the rest of us, I think it's safe to say I've covered most of what you need to know when looking for a new set of wheels. Although keep in mind that it's one thing to look cool, but it's another thing to sound cool as well, so go check out my guide to modding exhaust video, and look forward to my next video, which will be an in-depth guide to headers. Till then, thanks for watching and see y'all next time. Blade Angel out.